Very good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Kaua Kanakaʻole Ioane. I've been dancing hula with Halau Kekuhi for 25 years. And it is through hula that I have knowledge and training in dyeing material and using other fiber material and natural material to prepare a'ahu and implements. I chose to dye Alaea, and Alaea is, or some people call it Alaea. It is a red clay, and we don't have it here on this island, I don't think. If we do, it would be in the desert area. But I've got mine from a family member, and I had maybe about a pound or two of this rock clay of Alaea. And I chose that because I was seeking for a particular color, which was a rusty red, and materials that I used to dye were a stove, a bikini. You need the water hose to fill that bikini up, it's very heavy. And I used pa'akai. I used the pa'akai to bring the boil up quicker because it's a very long process to boil a big bikini of water. We use a stirring stick to stir our material, and the material I used this time around was muslin. I dyed with a 2-pound Alaea. I dyed about, I believe, 12 yards of muslin material. Yeah, and I also used pa'akai as a setting. So oftentimes we use mordants such as vinegar, but I was sticking to natural mordants. So because Alaea is just clay, it's a rock from the earth, I chose to just use pa'akai to set the color. The process of my dyeing and my experience is first you need to fill the bikini up with water. For the amount of material I used, which was about 12 yards of muslin, I filled it up about 3/4 of a way, and it needs to come to a full boil. That takes maybe about an hour. After it came to a boil, I added the Alaea into the water. I stir that around. That takes about a half an hour or so to have all of it break down and not become clay-like. So you want it to become full liquid form. And once that's set in for about a half an hour to 45 minutes, I'm able to add the material. Now, prior to adding the material into the dye, you soak the material in a bucket of water. Some people wash it in a washer. The reason we soak it is to loosen the fibers of the material so that it can accept the dye. If not, the dye comes out lighter than you want it. It also takes off whatever waxy layer or whatever the manufacturer have put to protect the material. You want to take that off because that prevents the dye from setting into your material. So I soaked it for about a couple of hours. I would have preferred 12 hours of soaking, but I soaked it for maybe 3 hours, and it was good because the color came out good. So as soon as my Alaea was ready and boiled and my soaked material, I squeezed the water out and I added my material to the dye, and I stir it. You have to stir it constantly because this type of burner that you have it in a bikini will burn your material right through if you don't constantly stir it. So you're always attending to your material and your dyeing. So after I add it in, I will stir it and let it sit for about an hour. And once that's done, I turn the heat off and I add pa'akai to it. Now that's my mordant. That mordant allows the color to stay. It allows the color to pa'a in my material. And let that cool down. Once that's finished, It'd be great to have a helping hand because that pakini is really hot and really, really heavy. We take it out into the yard and you pour the hot water out and you run the hose with cold water. The cold water kind of stops it from cooking, you know, it stops it from further boiling. It's really, really hot, and so it has to cool down before you open the material. Once the material is able to come out, you shoot it down with the hose, you squeeze it out and you hang it. Now the thing about Alaea is it stains you everywhere. Whether it's dry or wet, it's gonna get everything red, including the earth. So you have to make sure that you rinse it off really good so that when you're ready to wear it, it doesn't stain your skin or your other a'ahu. I did have helping hands. It's not impossible to do it by yourself, but when you're dealing with yardage of material, it becomes difficult to squeeze and lift heavy wet material like that. So I did have help that day. Once the water cools down from boiling and you remove the material, a lot of that Alaea will come back to a clay form and it settles at the bottom. And you see it in pa'akai. Red pa'akai is Alaea mixed pa'akai. Super good for ceremony. So we save it. You let it drain out. You can use a cheesecloth, or you can just put it into a container or let it dry out, but you can scoop the rest at the bottom and you can save it and you can put it to pa'akai. It dyes the pa'akai. There's not flavor to it. It's really chalky and earth-like, but the benefit of using natural material is you're able to use it again and again and again. And I'm able to do so because I use pa'akai as a mordant. Now if I use vinegar, I'm not sure what the reaction would be as far as reusing the Alaea, but we were able to save and collect the rest of the Alaea sitting at the bottom. Because harvesting Alaea on the Big Island on Mokunui is not as convenient as it is on Kauai. I wouldn't know where to find it here, that's why. So I reach out to Ohana, who has access to it on another island. I dyed this piece for our Halau Kekuhi Pi'ikuahu. And our Pi'ikuahu, well, 10 of us had elevated in Halau Kekuhi, and that required using a new fresh piece for our ceremony. We use these pieces to oftentimes mimic kapa. For our pi'ikuahu, I chose to use a long pa'u dyed with Alaea, and I spent about 16 to 20 hours ohe kapala, my a'ahu as well. And a word that would describe my experience of using Alaea as a dye. It was my very first time, and it was successful. I would say it was very exceptional. I was very satisfied with the product and the results of what we've done. And I would definitely recommend using it again for anyone who's looking for this color. You can't get any more rusty red than Alaea.
Papa.